Hello and welcome to Dingoes Ate My Podcast. I'm Paul,
And I'm Dave.
and this week we are discussing the episode entitled Couplet. This episode originally aired February 18th, 2002, attracting approximately 4.1 million viewers. Let us start off with the box office. So what would you guess would be the number one film at the box office this particular weekend?
Dealing with this week.
Oh,
No,
why?
last week with that particular film. Yeah, I doubt it would have lasted that long for what you were mentioning about it.
It's a different movie, I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, duly noted. Again, nothing's immediately jumping to mind. Or at least for me and that.
Technically, this is, I think, a sequel to a more famous film,
Okay.
but it doesn't have any of the same cast or anything.
Oh boy. Hmm. Nah, still got nothing.
Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Queen of the Damned.
Not particularly with the title.
It's a sort of sequel to Interview with a Vampire. I take it you're not
Yeah,
familiar with.
not surprising. Whether or not it was a case of it was based off of the film or the books, or if it actually was one of the books that they were continuing on with.
No, it was a book, but I think it's more based off of the movie. I don't know. I haven't seen this movie probably since 2008. And I'm
I'm
just gonna.
vaguely familiar since I've read through the book as well as watching through the movie.
The movie is shite.
Yeah, they tried, but again, it was Hollywood trying to words adaptations from the book and just like
Like it's scored. It's got 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
yeah, that's understandable.
It's real bad. Okay, so with that out of the way, we move on to number one song in America this week. Any guesses?
Sadly enough, I'll just probably go with the safe bet and say that it's still Usher.
It is not. You have been saved from Usher.
Thank goodness.
It is a song called "Always on Time" by Ja Rule featuring Ashanti.
Hmm.
Uh,
And it's vaguely familiar with the one Ashanti that you were mentioning and the title of it. It's not immediately coming to my brain,
it was
which,
only
depending on whether it's a saving grace, I'm not too sure.
it was only top of the charts for 2 weeks, so don't get too attached to it.
It's usually not the case with me.
And we are moving on to video games. So, alrighty. On the 19th, the day after this episode aired, there were two games that you could go pick up. If you had a PS2, you were in luck because you could pick up Jitaro Man, which is some rhythm game that I'm assuming was only released in Japan. Oh, no, it
And
did
I
actually
wouldn't be
come to North America. Huh.
Huh. Well, again, like it was a stick figure sort of character, or pretty much just made out of lines, because I vaguely remember that, but I'm not sure if that's the game I'm thinking of.
I put a link to it in the chat. It looks super interesting, like the design elements, but I'm not familiar with it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you actually know this game?
I do. Firstly, because you know all those particularly crazy, absurd aspects that Japan absolutely loves to throw at people whenever they're doing commercials or
I'm
other
familiar.
particular sorts of things. Yeah, that's essentially this entire game, pretty
Okay.
much. But firstly, it's Gitaruman,
Yeah, that's nice.
and as it sits, when I first discovered about it from people on the internet saying, "Oh man, this game is amazing and crazy," sort of brought the idea of, "Oh man, I want to play this game," but also it's the game of, yeah, everybody and their grandma who hasn't played this game before is never most likely going to see it again, because unless they had a PS2 or the sequel that came out on the PS3 several years later, there's no other way to get this game.
Apparently it came out on the PSP as well.
Yep, sequel for it, I believe it was.
Well, it looks
Or
like it was
kind of
re-released.
a updated version.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's like a rights issue that...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but again, it's kind of one of those games that it's definitely interesting, and the thought in the back of my head, if I actually saw a copy of this, I would drop everything and be like, I wish to purchase this. If you need my soul, you can take it.
Fair enough. Also, on February 19th, if you had a PS2 and you wanted something else equally bizarre to me, you could pick up Woody Woodpecker Escape from the Buzz Buzzard Park.
On the one hand, I'm not too surprised. With that particular Woody Woodpecker at the time would be fairly decently popular, so not too surprising that a game would surface.
I find it super interesting. Like the PS2 generation, for some reason, all these old cartoons got games again. And then they didn't get them again. Like it was this generation that there was a bunch of them.
Well, the one particular thing is just with gaming at around that time, it was decently popular, and out of the main three systems, everything was relatively close together that they could easily work with the programs to get stuff going, but PS2 was definitely the easiest for any programmer to get all their programs and whatnot working and playing on the system.
Well, and it also had like a massive install base. Like,
indeed,
they sold like 150 million of them or something.
Indeed.
Okay. So, now if you waited a few more days and you had an Xbox on February 22nd, you could pick up a little game that's called Jet Set Radio Future.
Okay. Because I was thinking about it and I was thinking of making the comment, but I figured I'd wait to see if it actually came up. But something just from last week, you saying February and whatnot, in 2002, it's like, there's no immediate game. And then just in the back of my mind, Jet Set Radio. It's like, didn't that game come out a couple years earlier? But no, it was the case that the sequel came out on the Xbox.
Yes, which it's a game series I've never actually played, but I've always wanted to.
Definitely decently intriguing. Again, only playing a little bit of it at a friend's place and not exactly having the knowledge to play through video games very well.
It also benefits, in my eyes, of having a really nice art style. So, there's that.
It is the very pretties.
And finally, for the 24th, there were 3 games that came out, all on the PS2. You could pick up Circus Maximus Chariot Wars, which sounds incredible. Oh, it's an ancient Rome chariot racing game.
Like, I had a mild flashback of the gameplay going on in my head. It's like, wow, I've probably only seen this once. Where were you hiding in my head?
It did not review well from most places, although GamePro gave it a perfect score.
Whether or not that was the company being like, give our game a good review score to get this money.
I would have to assume so, because they legitimately gave it 5 stars. And everybody else was like 3, bro. Playboy also reviewed it and gave it 70%, so that's a fun little note.
Because, it was the thing at the time.
It was. So also on the PS2 on February 24th, you could pick up Pac-Man World 2.
Okay.
When they tried to make Pac-Man into a 3D platformer.
They did. And they did a re-release of the game recently.
Did they?
Indeed. I think on Switch and a couple of other platforms.
Oh, okay. I did not know this. I again, a series I've never played because I just was like, I'm not really a platformer guy anyway.
And it's one of the cases of, I have it hiding in my collection. I have not touched it as of yet.
And finally, on February 24th, if you had a PS2, you could pick up Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2002. Back when we actually got golf games somewhat regularly.
Yeah.
because we don't so much anymore.
Yeah, no. My God, at the very most, it would just be the Mario Golf games that we've gotten recently.
I want to say EA released a new one recently on like the PS4. Yeah, okay, there is a PGA Tour 2K23 game. And they've got Tiger Woods back as the face of the franchise. So it's a 2K game. I was wrong, it's not EA.
Yeah.
Is it actually out? Because I would probably buy this if it's out. Is it out? Can I oh.
Is it?
No, it's not out till October. I might buy that. Anyway, that is not relevant for right now.
Indeed.
We should move right along to the episode. Alrighty. So, we start off at Cordelia's apartment, where she changes into something more comfortable while Gru explains how he was dethroned in Pylea. They kiss, but after Cordelia sees a demon in Gru's place as a vision painlessly hits her, she's, well, no longer in the mood, because, giant spiky black demon.
Yeah, because despite the fact that there was the one that showed up that turned out to be a decently nice guy, it can be a bit of a turnoff with the mood she was in.
Skip is my favorite. The next morning, Angel carries Connor around and talks with Leslie about investigating the prophecies about Connor. Cordelia arrives with Gru in tow. She informs them about the demon from her vision and that it will be surfacing later that day. When the topic returns to Cordelia's lack of a sex life, she tells her friends that about her worry of losing her visions to Gru if they actually have sex. Meanwhile, Gunn and Fred have breakfast together and talk. As they lean in for a kiss, their beepers go off with calls from Wesley. Fucking Wesley. While a picture of a demon, a Senhide, is passed around, Wesley explains the plan. As Gru raises the subject of Cordelia's obvious sadness, Angel explains Cordelia's fear of losing something if she gets too close to Gru. Following a trail of blood, the two demon hunters find the demon and battle it. The Shendu breaks through a wall into the daylight, and only Gru can follow to destroy it. Cordelia and others arrive just in time to congratulate him. While Gru recounts his battle to the others, Angel talks with a Miss Frakes about investigating a witch supposedly seducing her fiancé. Wesley assigns the job to Gunn, but Fred tags along too, much to Wesley's dismay. Wesley and Angel go to a bookstore for a supposedly rare text of commentaries on the scrolls about Connor. Back at the office, Gru agrees to let Cordelia give him a complete makeover, thinking that it will make her love him more. She explains that she already has strong feelings for him, and he then understands Cordelia is concerned about losing her visions. Jerry, the fiancé, is trailed by Gunn and Fred, who videotape the man as he waits beside a large tree. The two start kissing and distractedly miss the moment where Jerry disappears. Cordelia asks Angel for the favor of escorting Gru to a demon brothel where a magic potion is held that will allow her to have sex with Gru without losing her visions. I love that they have to go to a demon brothel in this episode.
Because those places exist.
Oh, they do. They do. Gunn and Fred refer to the videotape for evidence of Jerry's disappearance and watch him get sucked into the ground by the tree's roots a few seconds before they're sucked down as well. At the brothel, Angel and Gru follow Anita past tempting sites in a room where cash is exchanged for the potion. When Anita questions Angel's presence there, he gets a call from Gunn and Fred, who are bound by tree roots underground. They explain that it is a living flesh tree with an internet connection that lures victims in to suck the life out of them. Naturally, they avoid contacting Wesley and instead request the Grusalug. Before reaching the underground spot where Wesley and Fred are held, Gru has Angel keep the potion safe and then rushes into battle, despite Angel's suggestions of, thinking things through. The tree quickly sticks one of its fleshy roots deep into Gru's chest. The tree gets stronger as it feeds on Gru. So Angel questions the tree as he pounds Gru into unconsciousness. The tree impales Angel instead, and suddenly the tree begins to die as it feeds off Angel's dead heart. The others break free, and Gunn finishes the demon tree off. Later that night, Wesley talks with Miss Frakes on the phone, confirming that Jerry survived. Fred goes to get cleaned up, while Gunn stays to talk with Wesley. Wesley expresses his concerns for Fred and her feelings, and although it takes a few moments, Gunn realizes the real reason for Wesley's worry. Cordelia tends to Gru's wounds, and Gru confesses his reckless behavior earlier that evening, but Cordy is only turned on more by his honesty. Cordelia. Eager to have sex, Cordelia is about to rush out when Angel stops her. He insists that she accepts some money he has saved up so that she can take a Sunday vacation with Gru. Lauren lays Connor down for bed, and as soon as Angel arrives, leaves him to be alone with his son. Angel carries Connor downstairs and finds Wesley working in his office. As the two leave, Wesley looks down at his notepad where he has translated, "The father will kill the son." Dun, dun, dun.
Because of course, no episode can end on a happy moment.
Oh, Dave, it's going to get worse. It's going to get far worse. Alrighty, so what did you think of this episode?
Turned out to be fairly good. Again, I was a little bit concerned with the romantic hijinks, because sometimes with certain series, they can definitely push a little bit too hard on the antics or other particular things that go on. But in this sort of case, it turned out to be interesting, at least. Seeing Angel's concerns with the things, or him hyper-focusing on the things that he can't do, or him feeling useless with Gru around, to other actions and whatnot that he can. And then seeing the budding relationship with Gunn and Fred with their interactions. Having fun, but also being a little bit too distracted at work.
Yes. I think it's a fun episode.
It is. It kind of touches a bit on character development with everything. There isn't too much story development until the end, but there are little interactions with everyone that really works out. You're mentioning that Wesley and Angel went to the library to search for a book, and Wesley was trying to encourage Angel, like, you're one of a kind, Angel. You can always figure something out and assist with that. The librarian comes in with a text they're looking for. I got 3 copies of it. It's like,
It's my favorite joke because, yeah, Wesley's like, you're one of a kind, just like these ancient tomes. And then the bookstore clerk comes out and he's like, I got 3 copies. It's like, God damn it.
Yes.
It's a very good joke. But yeah, no, it's a fun episode. There's some character growth in it, and then we get obviously what's going to be the thrust of the next, probably the rest of the season with Wesley's translation.
And then of course the case of how the heck did the tree get its hands on 3 or 4 computers?
This is 2002. It might have been able to buy them on Amazon.
But then how did it get one in the first place? It is underground.
Dave, well, the answer to that is shut up and don't think about it.
Yes. Got a case with this. But still, nevertheless, it's a decent little laugh. Like, I need something to pull and pray aside from random people walking by and other sorts of things like that. It's like, oh, what's this thing do? Oh, it can contact people? Interesting.
Yes. Alrighty. So, a couple of notes about this episode. Where was I on my page here? Oh, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's a little reference in the background. Where is it? It's about some of the books. Oh, yes. Okay. So if you look in the bookstore, there's a you remember when they were in Pylea, they had the three books, the Wolf, the Ram, and the Hart.
Yes, with those.
Yes, one of them is seen in the background in the bookstore. It's the wolf one.
Oh.
So take that for what you want it to mean. Oh, right. No, I can't really tell you about that because that's too much of a spoiler.
Isn't it always?
Well, yeah, it is in this case. So Cordelia and Gru will be gone for a couple of episodes before they come back, so don't expect them to be back next week. And finally, I think that's about it. Oh, yes. We were supposed to see an appearance by Kate Lockley in this episode, but the actress was too busy filming Law and Order to fit that into her schedule.
Oh, mild sadness.
Because she was probably making a lot more money doing that than she was doing Angel.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, next week we'll be discussing the episode Loyalty. Okay. This is a very short preview because there's not much I can tell you about it. Angel is concerned about Wesley's erratic behavior when Wesley's greatest fears are secretly confirmed. The prophecy is true, and he is given the 3 signs to look for before Angel devours his own son. When an earthquake shakes Los Angeles, all 3 signs come true.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm gonna just warn you, Dave. It's gonna get worse before it gets better.
No, understandable.
Don't know if you really do, but okay. So until next time, I've been Paul.
And I'm Dave.